Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the players onto court for our opening match of this evening's session. From England, Alice Green and her opponent and compatriot, seeded 5'8" for this year's AJ Bell British National Championships, Jasmine Hutton.
Half time.
Welcome back to the British Squash Nationals here at Nottingham University, sponsored by AJ Bell. And we have the first match of the evening session, all running on time, the 5 o'clock match. Jasmine Hutton against Alice Green, an all English affair here between these two young ladies. 102 in the world currently, Alice Green. We're just going to run through the previous matches. Rachel Chadwick losing out in the first match in 4 to Julianne Cortese. Declan James taking out Patrick Rooney, which was a potential banana skin, in 3. Sarah Jane Perry coming through comfortably against Kira Marshall. And James Woolstrop giving a masterclass against Charlie Lee. And of course we've got this match first on, 5 o'clock, and then Alan Clyne against Nick Wall, one of the few non-English players, Alan Clyne. Alison Waters then up against Lily Taylor. And then finally, the number 1 seed from Wales, Joel Makin, taking on the up-and-comer Sam Todd of England. Well, I'm Simon Park, and joining me for this match only on this day is Tanya Bailey, the former world number 4 and current England squash high-performance coach. Good evening, Tanya.
Hey, Parky.
So you know quite a bit about these two. I know you've coached them in England squash situations, and you've worked with them quite closely over the years.
Yeah, since I've pretty much been sort of the high performance coach, I've worked with both of them through their junior careers on squads, and now doing a little bit with them both, working with the academy sort of level girls now. So yeah, I know them both quite well. I'm really looking forward to this match because I can't say I've seen them play for a while against each other, and yeah, they're both. It's quite an exciting one. Start the evening.
Is Alice still under 19?
She's
or just
she's
got the goggles on there? I'm just noticing.
Yeah,
the goggles.
she is. She moves out of age really soon.
Very soon.
Yeah, so she doesn't make like World Juniors this year in July.
But she is 18, so
yes,
she's got to wear the goggles.
Yeah.
Jazz Hutton was here in a coaching role earlier, and that's going to be reciprocated. You see Charlie Lee just following her into the corner to give her a few words of advice. It's a bit of a flip as well in that she's the favourite for this match.
Yes,
whereas he wasn't earlier.
Yeah, definitely on a ranking. Obviously, Jazz being a little bit older than Alice, she's expected to win this one, but it will not be easy. So yeah, it'll be a challenge. But Charlie will be there helping her out, which is obviously nice for her.
Well, that's interesting because not everyone would know. Maybe you could. There's 50 places at least in the rankings. You think that that's not really a true reflection?
Yeah, I think Alice's ranking is probably a little bit lower just because she's obviously still been in the juniors up until like she's starting to play more senior events now. So I imagine she'll move up fairly quickly.
What would you say her true sort of playing level is in the PSA in terms of players that she can beat and compete with?
Yeah, I mean she's definitely probably challenging top 70. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she got a win over someone a bit higher than that, but probably like consistency. But she's a real absolute fighter, and I'd never say no to her beating anyone, to be honest, because she's so gutsy.
Oh, that's great to hear from a young English girl.
Yeah.
So here we go between these two. Real talents.
Yeah, both players not afraid to move, both very athletic, so I think there should be some good movement going on here.
Another lefty as well on the court again this afternoon in Hutton. Yeah, I was just saying to you off mic as well, when I've been commentating down in St George's, I've had a few hits with Jazz a couple of years ago and was impressed with her work ethic on the court. Yeah,
definitely. She's super keen, like wants to learn, wants to get on court. If anyone's around to have a hit with, she'd definitely ask. So yeah, she's improved a lot over the last year or two, and yeah, putting the work in and getting the rewards for it.
Go on then, Tanya, since you're here, prediction.
Yeah, it's...
Be brave. Be brave.
I know they're probably both going to listen back to it. They might tell me off, but I think, you'd expect Jazz
safe,
maybe a 3-1, but like I said, I would never rule Alice out. I've seen her in the most difficult situations and come through with a win. But yeah, I think
just a
you'd
bit of
say
extra experience.
Yeah, Jazz is favourite. But yeah, I'm just quite excited to watch and see how it goes. Really.
Oh, shut up then. I'll take a hint.
I mean, Jazz would be hitting more on the glass court down at St George's. Obviously, she probably practices a bit more. Alice doesn't play on it as often, which is often quite obviously a good thing if you get a chance to practice on it a bit more, because the tournaments they play probably aren't on it as much.
What club is Alice Green, and who's her coach? And
she's at Berkhamsted. Well, she lives in Welwyn Garden City, but she trains at Berkhamsted with Adam Fuller, and they do group sessions with Adam and Paul Carter. So yeah, she's got some really good coaches there, plus really good people hitting down there regularly.
What, she's really, really gutsy, and she's coached by Paul Carter.
No, yeah, surprising. Never heard that before.
Well, as you know, it's such a huge part of any sport, isn't it? Especially individual sports like this. There's nowhere to hide.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's a great asset, especially in the women's game. You can go a long way if you can really chase every ball down. I do think that it's probably the ranking. You can't get quite as high as when I was playing. I think you could probably get a bit higher by just actually being physical. But now you do have to actually play good squash as well, a little bit more to get into probably the top, like say top 60, 70.
Yeah, there's a lot like the men's game. I think there's more depth, isn't there? And both games these days, and people are, and you were, excluding you because you were mega fit, but you know, I think in general players are fitter and more professional, and all the way down the list.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of great backhand drops there from Jazz. That's definitely one of her weapons.
What would you say if Alice Green were to win this match? How would she be doing it? What are her strengths?
Yeah, I mean, her strengths, like I say, the physical side of the game, but just hitting those back corners and get up on the volley, really. And I think she's working more and more on sort of ball control and changing the pace. And I think if she could do that and get sort of the measured drives into the back, and then obviously take on the front like that, she's going to put Jazz under pressure, because if you do give a ball to Jazz quite comfortably, she'll move on to it, and she attacks really well.
Yeah, she does. She's got good sound technique, Jazz.
Yeah.
Both girls have, to be fair.
Sort of showing their physicality here, getting around the court well.
That's well played. It's real cat and mouse stuff there. Both girls prepared to move the ball around.
Yeah, it was a good rally there from Alice. She showed a lot of variation there, a few shots that maybe last year she maybe wouldn't use so much, so she's hitting space well here.
That's a nice finish.
Yeah, lovely drop that.
Great control, high preparation there, nice and early as well. Just cutting down on the ball, running it in tight.
Yeah, we talked a lot since I've been watching today. Actually, me and Lee Drew sat and looking at the preparation, different players, and when you prepare well and you've got an option, you're in control straight away.
Seems such a simple thing, doesn't it? Getting your racket up.
Yeah.
Well, it's not always getting your racket up, but it's getting your racket in prepared, isn't it?
Yes,
for whatever that
yeah.
shot's going to be. So the first game to Hutton. Some good rallies as you were expecting, Tanya.
Yes, definitely. I think they are, as like you said, cat and mouse a little bit at the start there, and Jazz got control really right at the end of that game, and some great drops both sides at the right time, and yeah, she obviously edged it in the end.
She looks like she's just slightly more proactive on this court, a little bit more accurate perhaps as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think like you said, the sort of experience, she's been out on the tour now for a few years, and she just looks a little bit more comfortable, a bit settled on the ball, and is making it hard for Alice. Yeah, Jazz is looking confident here. I think it's one of those games as well when you're playing sort of the younger version, a few years younger, someone who's coming through the juniors, and you're the senior player, more established, and you certainly do not want to give them a sniff. So yeah, she's looking confident and looking strong.
Yeah, you want to teach them a lesson, even though it's like only a year or two.
Yeah, yeah.
As demonstrated by that kill there from Jazz. Pretty clinical stuff. And again, if you just clip the nick like that, it can die away.
Yeah.
Hardly any chance of retrieval.
Yeah, this court definitely takes the ball in well. So if you play good quality squash, you are really rewarded for it. And Jazz is playing really nice straight lines here at the moment, and that's you just can't get the ball off the sidewall once it clings in.
Oh, that was clumsy but effective. Oh, the next shot she was never going to reach. Green onto it too early. She has to take those chances, Alice Green. She earned that one.
Couple in a row there on the backhand. I think she's sort of got the lead and maybe just trying to rush it a little bit here. Set it up nicely with a really good straight drive.
Yeah, she's just sort of seeing the finishing line of this second a little bit too early perhaps. And that's
wow, that's fast.
Great persistence as well. Almost got that one too.
Yeah, that was well played, Alice. She definitely stretched the court out there. Just a little bit edgy from both of them middle of this game.
Do you know much about the previous matches? Because I guess in juniors they wouldn't have played that much because of the age difference, even though it's only a year or two.
Yeah, I was trying to think, and I can't really recall them playing. I think it's probably, yeah, there were probably maybe 2 age groups apart actually, a little bit. So it could have. Yeah, I think they probably didn't come across each other too often.
Not even recently in under 23s or anything like that?
I haven't seen. They may have played in PSL, but I just can't recall.
Almost get forgotten though, those matches, don't they, when they're just starting out and it's a best of 3. And
yeah, yeah. You know, I definitely preferred a best of 5 when I was a player, but I can see the.
I know you did. I remember.
I can see the value in a best of 3 for the spectators, but yeah, I wouldn't have liked it myself. And you, what?
I think we were quite similar, yeah, in that respect. People thought we enjoyed going to 5, but
yeah.
Well, maybe you did, but it's definitely trying to win in 3.
was a really nice tight drive there again. It's just so rewarding. If you get the ball running into the wall with the roughness of the wall, it really sticks. And trying to get that off, you have to be sort of really soft in your hands to get the ball off.
Well, it's the thing often club players or lower level players rush, isn't it? Try and hack it off the sidewall, and it just doesn't work. You've got to be really technically sound and slow it down.
Definitely. It's not an easy thing to do a session on, though, getting the ball off the wall, because you've got to get someone to hit it there.
It really
quite
tight.
A lot.
Yeah. Never been able to do that.
Close here, a couple of big points coming up.
Yeah, a bit more of a test for Hutton in this second game. It's good to see from Green. It's a good volley. He's got a chance. Perhaps a drop shot there.
It's tight again.
Thought that stayed in,
I
Tanya.
think it did. I think it did.
I think it was actually a perfect straight lob. It's really good play from Alice Green.
Yeah, she hit the space well there and moved the ball around well.
So 1 game ball for the younger English lady. And she's got it. It's an unforced error, you have to say, from Jasmine Hutton there at the end of the second. So both players walk off the court with parity as Green takes the second game. 11-9 in 7 minutes. It's 1 game apiece.
Yeah, Jazz made a really good start there and got quite a big lead, playing really good quality squash, straight lines, and then using her straight drop and sort of dominated the middle. But midway through that, a few errors. Alice pushed her into the corners and worked the ball around the court and got a few scrappy rallies in the middle there. But yeah, just got a little bit edgy. And Alice played really well those last few rallies and yeah, deserved to win that one.
Now we see the run of points, the scorecard, as we call it, in the second game. It does tend to be, even though the game was close, that you do get these run of points from each player, and in squash in general, it's not very often that it's tick for tack, and you can see Green in that getting a run of 4 points and then pulling away towards the end. Hutton just slim pickings really at 7, 8 and 9, and that's the reason why Green came through in the end. Just a bit of scoreboard pressure there, but some of the ones that we've seen earlier have just been all a little bit one way. So as we go on in the event and we see some 5 setters, I think it's going to be quite interesting seeing those score sheets. Well, you said it'd be close, and it's 1-1 now between these two.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it would be tough. She definitely isn't easy to beat Alison. I think just a little bit of sort of edginess, a little bit of nerves really crept in there. Jazz was on top, but then Alice had like showed on the graph there, had a run of points, and I think it was probably 2 errors from Jazz that sort of switched the game really. I think you see it quite often, even in sort of club level. I have this conversation with a lot of players. They go for a drop and they try and make it perfect when they've actually built the rally, and it only has to just be decent and you're in charge. But we try and play a winner off a drop that we don't need to necessarily.
Yeah, a bit of margin for error. Just getting the ball in the right area. Well, Jazz Hutton is coached by Robert Owen, And you being a coach, Tanya, you're aware of the frustrations of coaching sometimes.
Yeah, it's way harder than playing, I can tell you that. I think, yeah, you get so involved with your players and you want them to do well, and you know you're working with them and you're seeing what they're doing day in, day out, and then to put that together in a match is not always as easy, and obviously different emotions and everything that comes into it. Yeah, it's like, yeah, the energy levels you use.
Do you ever throw your toys out the pram though in coaching?
I'm not really. I'm not that sort of. No, I'm not.
It's
that.
not
sort
you.
Even if I'm feeling it inside, I remain fairly calm. Yeah. So I think, yeah, I don't show my emotion very often.
Well, you're pretty powerless, aren't you? Once your charge is on there, and you've done all the work, and once they're in there playing the match, there's not a lot you can do.
No. I think that's where it's hard to control your emotions when you're watching. But yeah, the last thing your player needs is for you to.
Especially if you're not in the venue and you're only watching on TV from a distance.
That's tricky. That's even tougher. You can't do anything about it.
Did you win this event?
Yes, I did once.
Thought you did.
Yeah, I played Linda Charman at the time in the final. Yeah.
What year was that?
2007, I think. I was trying to remember earlier.
Oh.
So a long time ago, yeah.
It's only yesterday, isn't it? 2007.
Feels like it. Feels like it. How about you?
Same as you, actually. One time, but a lot earlier, 1998.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh wow. You must have been young then.
Thanks for that.
How old were you then?
I was 26.
Oh right.
Yeah. 25.
It definitely remains one of my most sort of favourite events, and one that I'm proud of even to this day. Yeah, even though neither won, I was very happy with that.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, we've always been strong in this country, haven't we? With squash, both on the men's and the women's sides.
Yeah.
And it's something that I watched growing up as a junior and always wanted to win.
Sure.
So I think the same as you. It's It's definitely one of my best achievements.
It's sort of at the time was like winning a gold event, because you were playing probably 4 or 5 top 10 players in the world, weren't you, in it?
Yeah.
So it's still obviously still strong now, but those days it was really like every player in the top sort of 20. It was really crazy.
It's never been easy, and it just gets harder every year. You can see the competition this year, both the men and the women. Just some phenomenal players who win top PSA events. I mean, James Willstrop's been world #1, of course.
Yeah.
And previous to that, but obviously before, when Nick Matthew was playing, he was one of the best players ever.
Yeah.
And in the women's event here, we've got Sarah Jane Perry. Unfortunately, Tesney Evans had to withdraw.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, it's really feel for her. Looks like was a nasty one, that.
Yeah. Yeah, not good. We wish her a speedy recovery.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great shot.
Of course, we've got Alison Waters still going in this.
Yeah, goodness me. I played her I think I played her in the semis of that one I won all those years ago. It's crazy, really.
Players seem to last longer now, don't they?
She's so professional that it doesn't surprise me that she's still playing, and she still loves the game, I think, as much as she ever did, even after all these years. So she deserves it.
Well, I was actually a teammate of hers for England. It was my last ever England cap, and it was her first ever England cap back in 2005.
No one can seem to just sort of sneak ahead at the moment. It's all there's some really good quality squash, and then some rallies where it's mid-court and sort of off the wall.
Like that one.
Yeah, so it's really they're struggling to consistently find targets at the moment.
Yeah, just hacking it around a little bit, aren't they? But not finding the actual corners.
It's easy to sort of lose that pace, height, control when you're sort of in the heat of a 1-all, 8-all situation. Bit of composure and
the heart rate's going a little bit faster than normal. I mean, it's an opportunity for both players, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, Hutton being the favourite, but at this point. 1-1 and 9-9.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing in it, as PJ
in.
would say.
Yeah. That's tight, it's sticking in.
It's great to see the level, though, isn't it, of some of these younger ladies for the future of England.
Yeah,
Squash,
definitely. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're aware that sort of crop of the golden generation, as they like to say, is either stopping or getting towards the end of their career. And yeah, we need these girls, but at the same time, sort of try not to put too much pressure on them, and they need time to get used to the tour, get their experience, and I think they're all going to progress really well, but just need to make sure we don't try and put too much pressure on them.
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, Lucy Tamel's playing later, isn't she? And
yeah. Lily Taylor, who's playing,
Taylor,
Alison, all top juniors, and all a lot of potential. Yeah, and then another one girl who trains with Alice, Grace Gear, sadly is injured, but she's doing well too.
Yeah, I know her name. Yeah, she's. So Tanya, I suppose you're sticking with Hutton now. She's got the 1 game advantage. Oh, what a start from Green.
Yeah, maybe I'll change my mind. No, I think I think it'll be another close game. I'm not going to change my prediction, but yeah, I think it'll still be tough. And yeah, like I said, Alice is never say die attitude. She will not walk off that court until she's giving every last breath. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this ends up. That's a great drop shot there, set that up.
Yes, Dave.
A bit of news coming in from Nottingham Squash Club, known as the Park. Daryl Selby, 3-4 seed, former champion, was awarded the match against Ollie Pett. Early on, there was an eye injury to Daryl Selby, and the match was awarded to him.
Oh, right. Do you know any more details?
That's all I know at this stage.
It must have been opponent's swing, otherwise they would have obviously not awarded it.
Yeah.
But that means they deemed it as not an accident, though, doesn't it? But I'm not sure.
Unless it was the other way around, actually. It just says 1-2 eye injury, match awarded to Daryl Selby. So I'm assuming that's just 1-2 in points
in the first game. Oh
yeah.
right, that's a shame. There wasn't any of the match.
Because the game score is down as 3-love Selby.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure we'll get some more information about that in due course.
I wonder if he'll be okay for tomorrow if he's had a bad eye injury.
It's better. Hutton just lifting the ball a little bit and getting the ball to actually hit the back wall at times.
It really is so important on this court, because if you hit hard and...
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a great shot.
That'll do as well.
Yeah. That was a great shot. Yeah, if you do just sort of hit hard and mid-court on the front wall, it really does sit up for your opponent to attack you back. So, yeah, using height is really important, or controlling different heights.
You were good at that, weren't you? You had to lob it sometimes.
Yeah, I think, although my game was fairly physical, I felt comfortable I could go in quite fast and still lift out, which gets you, and even now if I play, it gets me out of a lot of trouble situations. But yeah, I think it's just trying to learn to have that time being settled and giving yourself like moment of calmness in the rally. Oh, great
again,
shot.
wonderful finish. It's not much margin for error when Hutton takes it short, but she does get a high percentage.
I think, like you said before, her racket prep above the ball and being able to cut down on it, that drop just stays so short.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You find so many pit players, again, especially sort of club standard, they come under the ball and they lift it on the drop, and then you're just asking someone to come and punish you. Great shot on this court as well. If you can hit a both when you've shown a straight drive, you do get rewarded.
Yeah, there's been a few of those winners today. Quickly whipping in the boast. You're right about Green though. She's persistent, isn't she? She's
yeah, she really is. Like I say, one of the gutsiest players I've ever met. Really.
That's a huge compliment.
Yeah,
you've
definitely.
Met a lot.
Yeah, I have. I've seen her go through a fair bit on this sort of England stuff that I've done with her. So yeah.
Who's the gutsiest player you've ever played against? You were talking about a golden generation, but your generation before that one was pretty good as well, with Cassie Chapman and Linda Chalmers.
I mean, it's difficult to say anyone's more gutsy than Linda was, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, Vicky Boatwright was pretty gutsy too. Yeah. I mean, she would leave everything on there. So, to be fair, I think that there's a lot of them that did that would not.
And Cassie.
Oh yeah, I mean, Cassie was a phenomenal player as well. She was like amazing player. Really, I learnt a lot from her. So. But yeah, I mean, like those girls, I think Carol Owens, Michelle Martin, they were brutal. They were so strong. You really had to do something to beat them. But you're the same. I mean, you could list off you were like it and the players in your era. I remember watching like some of the matches. I mean, in those days, well, with Point of Rally, they were 2 hours long.
Yeah,
quite regularly.
That's a wonderful finish again. Very impressed with the short game of Hutton here. Technique is look at this preparation here and balance. Really, as you say, just coming down on the ball nicely, keeping it simple though.
Yeah.
Not overcutting the ball. Some players are a little bit guilty of that, aren't they?
Chop down, yeah.
And you can obviously make more errors that way, be a little less consistent.
Yeah, it's quite hard to teach to cut the ball but get through the ball at the same time, and that's what people don't always understand, so they end up hitting the racket on the floor. And you're like, no, not quite like that.
Or actually hitting the ball with the bottom of the frame.
Yes, yeah.
It's good stuff. Fist pump there from Hutton, fully deserved. She's got 4 match balls now. started to dominate in this fourth game, taking the ball just a little bit earlier perhaps than Green, and taking it in really confidently when she gets the opportunity. That's a wonderful shot, half volley, perfect drive. And there you see the respect between these two young ladies. Great prospects for the future, both these players. Really good effort from Alice Green, but just wasn't quite good enough for her slightly older and more experienced counterpart. So Jasmine Hutton comes through 11-8, 9-11, 11-9, 11-6, 3-1 in 34 minutes.
Yeah, so it was a really good performance from Jazz. Could have easily sort of come and stuck there against, like I keep saying, a really gutsy player. But she sort of showed that slight level, ranking level a little bit higher and a bit more sort of experience. Found the quality when she needed to. Then wasn't easy. Alice made it tough for her and played some good squash of her own. But yeah, Jazz is definitely improving. Hit her targets as short games really come on, so really impressed with that, and yeah, well done to Jazz.
Ladies and gentlemen, for our next match, please welcome Nick Wall and his opponent from Scotland, seeded 5'8" for this year's AJ Bell British National Championships, Clyne.
(2020), sponsored by AJ Bell here at Nottingham University. And we've had quite a heavy England-centric afternoon. We have Scottish number 1, Clyne, against Nick Wall, the young player from Sheffield. Nick Wall, 136 currently in the world, against Clyne, who's currently 39 in the world. Has been a little bit higher, I think, just inside the top 30 before, Clyne. It's another match today. We've seen it a little bit on both sides, men's and the women's. The older, more experienced players against some of the players that are starting to make their moves into the senior game. And joining me for this match, the next couple of matches, I think, again, is Connor Sheen. Good evening, Connor.
Evening.
Had a nice break?
Yeah, it was lovely.
What did you get up to?
I went to the cafe, had a coffee, and I watched the girls' match there, Jazz and Alice, for a bit. Yeah.
Good game, eh?
Yeah, it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, actually. Thought Jazz got a little bit edgy, but she got through it in the end.
We can see in the coaching corner of Nick Wall, he's got his father, Nick Wall Senior, Nick Matthew, just getting up there on the left, and Neil Guyry, who's already in the corner. Never seen him move so fast.
Oh, got the arm on him as well. See him throw that ball. I'm sure that just rolled out the Nick.
Yeah, he's good with the arms, not so much the legs.
So the only remaining Scot in the men's draw, having lost Greg Lobban earlier today as he lost to George Parker. So Alan just solely flying the flag in the men's side. Don't think he'll have it all his own way in this game. Nick's, as you say, up and coming player on the PSA. Played him a few times myself recently. And it's definitely not going to be easy for the Scotsman.
AJ Bell, National Squash Championships 2020, men's first round match. Nick Wall of England to serve. Alan Clyne of Scotland to receive. Best of 5 games. Love all.
So what are your thoughts here, Connor? Do you think the young pretender has a chance here against the older, more experienced Scot?
A chance of winning, I'm not too sure, but I think he'll definitely get stuck in. I think, as you say, the experience of Alan might just prove a little bit too much, but I definitely think I don't think it'll be easy for him.
He's quite close to your ranking, isn't he, Nick Wall? He's the sort of player that you'll come across a little bit.
I actually played him last week.
How'd you get on?
In the Yorkshire League, I went 2-0 up and lost in 5.
Oh dear.
Seems like always it's my losses here.
Sorry about that.
But no, he's already won a PSA title. I think it was in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
good place to celebrate it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Saw that on one of the socials, probably Instagram.
But he's got a.
I'm not on Snapchat.
Aren't you? No, you need to get involved.
Surprised, aren't you?
Yeah. He's got a good setup, hasn't he? Playing out with Hallamshire. Obviously, Nick Matthew doing more coaching there, setting up his academy. And when you've got a 3-time world champion in your corner, doesn't hurt, does it?
Certainly not. You can learn a lot from Nick. We always talk about the just how meticulous he is, Nick Matthew, and I'm sure that he'll take that into his coaching. I mean, and Nick Wall's been, as you know, he's been a good player for a long time, hasn't he? And quite a bit of the coaching you've got to credit to Neil Gyrey as well.
Yeah, he's been playing like a very mature game for the past couple of years, hasn't he? And now he's moving on to. I think he got to get to a final of a British Juniors as well the other year.
He did last year, yeah.
Losing to Asal.
Yeah.
So, and who's now top 30 in the world. So, I think he got a game in the final as well. It's 3-1.
Yeah. He's mixing it with the best in the juniors. He's just got to make that difficult transition now, and it is a very difficult transition. I remember doing it myself, and I think it's just not getting any easier. Takes some time.
Yeah.
But of course, having like we say, having Nick Matthew in your own club, right on your doorstep, it's such a big advantage.
3-1.
And aside from all the mental preparation, just the practical nature of this particular match against Alan Clyne, Nick Matthew will have played Clyne quite a few times, will be quite sure about what kind of tactics he wants to employ.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm pretty sure that Clyne never produced a win against Nick Matthew. I think I would have remembered.
Yeah, same.
Not many people did though.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Outside of the top 20,
Top 5.
top 10 even. Yes.
I think Alan's strengths lie in his physicality, don't they? I think
Oh, absolutely.
he's a good mover. Great engine on him. I think he's not one to blow people off court with winners and stuff like that. But he's just so solid.
He
Breaks
is
people down that
mentally and physically very, very solid.
Yeah.
And he's a fighter, and he's tricky in the front left. He's got a unusual, unique backhand. And I've seen him taxi a few people in that area quite a few times when he's got a little bit of time. It's dangerous in that area.
Hand out, sorry. 4-2.
Let's keep talking about experience versus youth. The next match on is Alison Waters versus Lily Taylor. Big age gap there and gap in experience. And then the last match, Joel Makin, sort of medium age but a lot of experience against Sam Todd. So some great matches coming up.
Yeah, he's looking forward to that, Toddy.
Can tell he popped his head into the commentary area and he looked very excited.
Yeah, he's had some food. He's had a massage as well, so he's feeling good. Just talking about that backhand drop there.
Well, that was actually
Lovely.
obviously no disguise, just pure control coming around the back of the ball. It's impressive that from Clyne. And that's the one I was talking about.
Again.
Well,
Yeah.
there's that or the flick. He's got so many options when he's got time in the front left. It's just such a dangerous area. I think Wall is aware of that, just having a little word with himself.
Yeah, it's not the technique you kind of coach, is it? He kind of comes round, cuts across the ball, doesn't he?
Yes, led.
But you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's working
Yeah,
quite nicely.
he's
for
very
him.
unorthodox. I remember seeing him play. I used to play for a team up in Aberdeen in the Scottish League, and saw him when he was, I don't think he was professional, and he's just coming through, and I don't think I'd seen a backhand like it, but it's served him well.
Down. 7.
Yeah, as you say, he's what 39 in the world now. Been higher, but he's not really been able to crack that the kind of top 20, has he? Or
No.
kind of establish himself that way or push on again. Do you think that's mainly down to technique or because physicality? He's up there, isn't he?
Yeah, it's probably a combination of things. I think, yeah, perhaps technique. Although, as we keep saying, it served him well in a few areas, like deception and being unique and that disguise. But only works to a certain level, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of getting over the line, I mean, you know, I've seen him trouble top 10, 20 players, even get the odd win.
Pick that up.
And down. 4-7.
But it's just not an easy thing to do, is it? Breaking into the
No,
top
well,
20, you need everything.
In the draws as well, he would have played a match then to play a kind of top 16 kind of player, wouldn't he? And then it's a difficult ask, fresh, never mind having already played a match. So
Especially if he has come through, quite often it would have been in 5
yeah,
against maybe a high ranked player.
yeah,
And it doesn't matter how fit you are. This, as you know, this game is brutal. And
it seems like he was always coming up against like a Gaultier or Nick Matthew or Shabaggy. And they were always just a level ahead of him. Oh, that's naughty though.
That is, I mean, that's like the drives that James Willstrop was hitting earlier today. Absolute perfection. And that's the kind of thing, it's a bit of a genius shot, isn't it, really? We talked about the transition. He's behind Clyne. It's not the one, really. You've got to make your opponent work a little bit.
Yes, lad.
Smooth mover, isn't he, Nick Wall?
Yeah,
you never see him panic moving.
no, he's deceptively quite quick. He's not got that like kind of obvious turn of pace, but he's very difficult to hit winners against. Quite tall as well, just stretches out the long leg and seems to get it back. It's quite annoying when you play him.
Yeah.
Another error.
10-5, game ball.
This is good dogged play from Clyne. Just not doing anything particularly amazing, but he's keeping the ball above the tin, which is more than you can say for Nick Wall. A couple of times in that game, unforced errors, and make it a little bit more frustrating. Can't actually leave the court. So Alan Clyne of Scotland takes the first game, 11-5 in 10 minutes. He leads by 1 game to love.
Yeah, an encouraging start for Nick Wall, but just a few too many errors creeping in. I think that's down to, as you say, the dogged play of Alan Clyne, not giving Nick Wall much to work off. But he'll be encouraged with the start that he made, and if he can get himself in front in the second game, he might be able to trouble the Scotsman a little bit more.
Second. Clyne leads, 1 game to love. Love all.
So Connor, putting your coaching hat on, if you were in Nick Wall's corner, what would you say?
Well, I think first things first, he's just got to cut out the errors, hasn't he? Just started to creep in at the end of the first. It's hard to think about extending the rallies against someone who kind of likes that play, but he's got to get himself into winning positions.
But he's fit though, isn't he, Nick Wall?
Yeah.
He's not got a problem. You know, he's a lot younger. He's a fit young lad. He's training with Nick Matthew. That shouldn't be an issue, should it? I suppose it's the mental fitness, isn't it?
But he wants to try and work him round the court, doesn't he? And it's a fine line between trying to work someone and create
error-free.
Create that consistent pressure. But you got to keep it above the tin, haven't you? Obviously, easier said than done, but there's ways to work people round without taking that risk. He's got a good straight and cross court kill that I'm not seeing yet. Well, it's a good way to utilise that.
Clyne's doing a good job to close him down, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's aware of the the talents of Nick Wall, and he's negating that, isn't he? Really
Just
well.
keeping it nice and steady. Yeah. I think with this is what Alan kind of does so well, doesn't he? He relies on errors from his opponent. He's quite happy for the rallies to go on, and then if they take it short, as you mentioned, his counter work before.
Yeah, and the errors are coming, aren't they?
That rally just typifies everything we just said.
Right on cue. It's good. Give yourself a pat on the back for that. It's rare that happens.
It's not my first time.
Good accurate hitting as well, you have to say, from Clyne. Need to give him a bit more credit, I think. These sort of shots, he is holding them off, but he's also playing some accurate squash. He was just under a lot of pressure there.
Accurate squash there.
Yeah, but he's hit very few of those kind of shots, and he was under pressure, wasn't he?
Yeah,
It was
sure.
forced. But it's rare that Nick Wall is getting him into those sort of positions.
He's stingy, isn't he?
Very. Well, I can say he's Scottish because he's just the same as Yorkshireman, very stingy.
That's better, isn't it?
Much better. And that's the kind of positivity that you need against Alan Clyne. Getting the ball in behind him. Just playing with such precision that, again there as well, Clyne's not able to take it early on the volley or the half volley. It's good again from Nick Wall. I think he's just starting to get the hang of this.
Yeah, he seems to have settled down after that first.
Squash is it's a game of physical chess, or chess on legs, as
Chess
PJ
on
likes to
legs.
call it. It really is. It's the best kind of squash when players are really thinking about what they're doing on there. Do you think about what you're doing when you play?
Try to, but a lot of the time,
Sometimes overthink.
definitely overthink. Yeah.
Should have gone straight there, Nick Wall.
I'm not sure it's too much of a problem, you know, giving Alan like angles, because he does his best attacking work when it's on the counter, doesn't he? When it's straight. A bit fortunate there, but he's still got to be careful, Nick, because he wants to stay in front, and if he gives Alan too many angles to hit deep and keep Nick behind him, he's not gonna do anything really.
Sure. Just saw a little clip there of Wall looking particularly tired and out of breath. I suppose, you know, I mean, it's not always to do with age, is it? It's just the workload. This is a brutal sport, and Nick Wall's just probably not quite used to the relentless pace that's going on. And well, he's played at this pace before, but the ability that he's feeling against Clyne, the stubbornness.
Yeah, he would have been relatively fresh coming into this. He was meant to play Tom Walsh in the qualifying final, but unfortunately Tom had to withdraw before the match even started. So
Injury or illness?
yeah, injury. I think he had a tough game to get through, beating Ben Smith, and then not even able to play. So It's unfortunate for him. So we didn't have a match last night, Nick.
Great width there from Clyne. Yeah, so no excuse in terms of the legs.
Yeah, but as you say, it's a relentless kind of schedule. I think he's been away at some PSA tournaments over in North America as well, Nick.
8-3.
It's more mental, isn't it? It might not even be like physical tiredness, but mentally it's tough to back it up.
Well, again, he's just not used to it. It's a combination of, it's being 19, being in that transitional phase between juniors and seniors, doing all that international travelling regularly. That shouldn't be sniffed at in terms of making you tired. A lot of people might be listening to us going, well, he's a kid, he shouldn't get tired, but it takes a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah, for sure.
It takes a year or two, and possibly longer for some people, I think. And playing all different clubs and environments around the world, you're doing it now, and it's not easy, is it?
No, it's not. And then you add in, like, obviously you have to keep up with your training, your league matches, and you want to try and get the most out of them and perform for your club, and it's a tough schedule.
But having said all that, on the positive side, Nick Wall is playing well and he's relishing this opportunity against a very experienced older player.
10-4, game ball.
Who's been up and around, in the top 25, top 30 in the world against the best players in the world.
Yeah, he's very consistent, isn't he? Kind of doesn't often lose to players below his ranking, but struggles to beat the ones in front. He's kind of in that middle ground.
True, yeah. Always sort of gets to his seeded position.
Yeah. I think he's spending a lot of time in the US as well recently, with his wife, Olivia.
Yeah, Olivia Blatchford-Clyne. She's a fantastic player herself. Nice, lovely finish. Does have some real flair, doesn't
he?
He's
got that in his locker on both sides.
But it's testament to Alan Clyne. He's just not been allowed to do it that often. Three game balls here for the Scotsman. That's a poor shot. He's very frustrated with himself, as he should be there. Nick Wall, it was right onto his racket. Poor cross court from Alan Clyne, but he's got away with it, the Scotsman, taking the second game, 11-7 in 11 minutes. He leads by 2 games to love.
Yeah, Nick Wall trying to get himself into this match, trying to assert some kind of dominance in the middle of the court, which is where he's at his best, but Alan Clyne showing what a true professional he is, not giving Nick many opportunities to take the ball in short. Kind of a relentless pace and the consistency that's kept him at a very, very good world ranking over the past couple of years. Nick will have to do something a little bit different in this third if he's going to have any chance in this match.
Clyne leads 2 games to love. Love all. Stroke to wall. And out 1 love.
So for those of you who haven't got the internet or haven't had a look yet in the draw, the winner of this, which is increasingly looking like Clyne, will be playing the winner of the last match tonight, which is between the number 1 seed Joel Makin of Wales and Sam Todd of Ponte.
I've not seen a bar here. Sam's dad will be livid.
Well, any of the supporters from Ponte.
They bring their own.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Certainly always happens at the British Junior Open. Mick Todd organises plenty of kegs of beer, not just for himself, but for everyone. Mainly for himself.
And out 1 all.
You'll know this. Sam Todd beat Nick Wall recently in 5. Was that in a PSA?
Yeah, it was in Denmark. I think it was
semis, was it?
5K,
Quarters?
10k in Denmark, semis. And then Sam lost to
Herrevagen.
Jan Van in 5 as well. Which is a good result, really.
Yeah, starting to
16-year-old.
make a difference against some very senior players.
Yeah.
Would that be the first win for Todd against Nick Wall?
Potentially, yeah.
Obviously, he's slightly older, isn't he?
Yeah, I think the last time I saw them play was in like an exhibition kind of thing, a Dunlop exhibition event, and Nick won that one, but it was close. I'm not sure if they would have played in any leagues or anything.
I love the fact that 2 of our youngest players are best prospects from Hallamshire and Pontefract, just like Will Strop and Matthew were.
Right side.
Huge rivals, of course.
Just love plugging Yorkshire, don't you?
Yeah, I do. You're just jealous.
Stroke to Clyne.
Who have Merseyside produced, apart from you and Zane Salah?
Patrick?
3 1.
And Patrick.
That's all you need. There's a fellow, Justin
Rennie, I
who
remember Justin Rennie.
won the,
He's a
British
fantastic
Juniors.
player. Double-handed backhand just to slice it in 2.
I think he chose cricket in the end.
Stroke to Clyne.
He was a wonderful player.
Yeah. 4 1.
So that's it. 4 players. Any women?
Don't think so.
Down. And down 2 4.
You actually genuinely can't think of any top female players. If any of you'd like to
I'm
tweet
trying
us.
I'm trying to think of one. There's definitely one. I'm trying to think.
help us out, guys.
But there's no doubt that Merseyside's the best county for enjoying the squash, enjoying the atmosphere of places. No doubt. Definitely the funnest county team there is.
Just coming out with things now that there's absolutely no proof for, but I'll go with it.
Ask any county.
That's wonderful touch. Again, that front left, and Nick Wall frustrated. He'll know. He'll be getting the advice from Nick Matthew. But the clever thing about Alan Clyne is he'll lead you. He'll trap you into that corner. He'll force you to play a shot there, slightly loose, and then he'll kill it off.
Down 6-2.
And here you see just the difference in standard and experience just starting to show more and more in this third. Clyne really sort of sensing the finishing line, trying to push on forward.
Yeah, it's been exactly what you'd expect from Makin, Clyne, isn't it? Really professional performance.
Yeah, very, very.
And that's happened so often, hasn't it? Nick's kind of been in front, and then he's put one short ball in, and Clyne is countered and then tidied up after it.
Oh, I thought that looked overcooked, but it just dropped in. That's a lovely shot. Really clever shot from Nick Wall. And again, I like the way he's slowing it down here. Perhaps could have done a little bit more of that, I think, throughout the match.
Yeah, I think the change in paces is coming a little bit too late, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's something that James Wilstrop, perhaps, against Alan Clyne has used so well. He's really varied the pace. Obviously, he's got amazing ball control, but when you play to your ball control, or to James Wilstrop, if you were James Wilstrop, then Clyne tends to struggle against that sort of quality. And people like Gawad can sort of make him do so much work. But of course, Nick Wall's got a long way to go to get to those guys' levels.
Yeah, I think this will be the first time that Nick's played Alan Clyne as well. So it's all a bit new to him, and playing somebody for the first time isn't easy, especially someone who's, you know, a seasoned pro on the PSA tour.
He's done okay though, hasn't he? I think he'd be a bit disappointed with this third. I mean, you've seen him, you've played him, obviously a bit more than me.
3-9.
He's only a couple of years younger than you. Do you think he's be happy with his performance or not?
Probably not, to be honest.
Which is good.
Yeah,
it's good.
I think he's that type of mentality. Really, he doesn't give much away, and he expects a lot of himself, I think.
I mean, that's definitely, that's how he shouldn't be happy after losing. And this third is 7 match balls here to Clyne.
I think if he watches this back maybe, and just if he watched it with an open mind and thinks about it, what he can learn from it, then it'll be beneficial. But if he just thinks, oh, didn't play well, put it to one side and not think about it again, then that's the wrong thing to do, because there are learning opportunities from this. And
absolutely,
surely his coaches will know that.
Well, look at the quality in his corner there. You know, he's not got to the level he has without learning from bad experiences, or not bad, but disappointing experiences, should I say. And he's got a great coaching team, and his dad, as you know, is a good player himself, very experienced. He's been playing most of his life. But he'll be disappointed with an unforced error to finish as well. But as you alluded to, that's his style of game, Nick Wall. He likes to attack. He's got a little bit of flair, but wasn't able to use it as much as he would have liked. But all credit to Alan Clyne. He just negated the whole Nick Wall game, coming through 11-5, 11-7, 11-4 in just 34 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the players onto court for our final women's match of the evening. Please welcome Lily Taylor from England and her opponent, seeded 2 for this year's AJ Bell British National Championships, Alison Waters.
Welcome back to the AJ Bell National Squash Championships 2020. Back to the women's event, and we have another all-English affair. Alison Waters against Lily Taylor. Experience again against youth. Alison Waters has had so much success in this event. She's won it several times, and it's often said that this is one of her favourite events to play. She's also been to the final a couple of times, as well as winning it, I think 5 times, maybe 4 times. To check on that. And Lily Taylor, her opponent,
Todd.
One of 2 daughters of Simon Taylor, who I actually played against, was a professional back in the day. You can see on the front row on the right hand side there. He's obviously in Lily's corner. Alison Waters appears to be going to try and work out this match on her own, which I'm sure she's done many, many times over her illustrious career. 35 years of age, now, Alison Waters, and 23, Lily Taylor. Well, there's a bit of a generation gap in this commentary box, because Connor Sheen is back in with me this evening. Good evening, Connor.
Evening.
Thoughts on this match?
Again, it's one of those age against experience, isn't it? Youth against experience matches. It's just a free shot for Lily against one of the most consistent kind of female professionals that we've seen, haven't we, in the women's game? So,
well, I think she's one of our best players, male or female, over the last 10, 20 years, Alison Waters.
Yeah, I'd like to see that stat. She's probably been in the top 15 in the world for the past, how many years, would you say? Over 10 years.
Oh yeah, I think probably 12 or 13. Alison Waters. She actually, I was just saying to Tanya Bailey earlier, she made her debut for England the year that I appeared for the last time, 2005, in Holland. She's achieved a heck of a lot since then.
Yeah, losing out to Emily Whitlock last year, wasn't it? In the semi-finals. Great rally to start us off.
One love.
I just had a message from Jonathan Lilly. Don't know if you're aware of Jonathan Lilly. He was a very good player back in the day. Still a good player. Now we're playing Masters, but he's thinking that Simon Taylor named Lily after him, but I'm not too sure about that. Get back to you on that one.
2 love.
Hope you're having a good evening, Lilo. Enjoying the squash.
Three love.
Lily's sister is also a very good squash player, Mary. She was helping her pre-match, wasn't she?
Yep. Yeah, I think Mary's at university here in Nottingham.
4
I'm
love.
not sure she's been a bit ill over the past year. Not been playing as much squash as she would have liked. But I think she's thinking about maybe getting back into playing some professional tournaments, and she's finished with her degree in the summer.
Oh, she's in the last year.
Yeah.
Side.
This is not the start that Taylor wanted, though. It's probably
6 love.
one of the worst players you could face first round, I think. Alison Waters, talking about how much she enjoys the event, how many times she's won it. Look at that for a perfect length.
7 love.
And at 35, I mean, she's still in great shape. She's always been somebody who's been in peak condition. She's got an attacking game as well. She's got it all, really, Alison Waters.
8 love.
Yeah, she's hit the ground running here, hasn't she?
Yeah, and contrary to what Joe Barrington always says about me, I don't like to see
9
a bagel,
love.
but it's looking quite likely on
Only if
this
it's
point.
food.
Yeah, only if it's breakfast with a bit of egg. Well, I heard a murmur from the referee then. I think he thought it might have been out, but
The ball was out at the front.
it wasn't committed.
Yeah. And down. Yeah. Sorry?
So the ref kind of said the ball was out, but he's got confused as to who hit it out.
Yeah. I mean, it is quite easy to tell these two apart.
10 love. Game ball.
I mean, they couldn't be wearing much different colours, different hair colours, everything. I don't think Alison Waters is going to go for the bagel.
There it is. straight through.
Thoughts on that?
And down 1-7, 1-7.
Controversial.
You know, that's fine, isn't it? I don't like it when people kind of just hit the ball out off the serve or something. I don't, give them a chance to hit.
Make them play it. Make them play a winner. Yeah.
Yeah. People
Yeah.
who just hit it out or hit it in the tin off the serve.
That's
is
a good
bit,
point, actually. I never thought of those options.
That's a bit patronising, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
give them a chance to actually win the rally.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. So Alison Waters doesn't go for the bagel. Takes the game 11-1 in 5 minutes. She leads by 1-0.
Yeah, very dominant performance in this first from Alison Waters, and not letting Lily Taylor settle whatsoever, not giving her any chances to take the ball in short or do much positive work. I think Lily's just got to try and settle herself, maybe hit a bit straighter, use a bit of height on the front wall to get Alison behind her and see if she can make the second a little bit more competitive.
Waters leads, 1-0. Love all.
That's a great finish from Taylor. Accidental, I believe. Not the shot, but I think the tracks earlier, Kasabian. It's a good choice considering Taylor's from Leicester. I don't know if she's a big Kasabian fan though. It's probably unlikely.
Huge. Loves them. All she listens to, apparently.
It's the only band from Leicester, right?
Only. The only one.
Yeah, you were just mentioning there off mic that Taylor perhaps a little bit jet lag maybe. She's been playing some tournaments in the States.
Yeah, she was away for around 2 weeks or so, playing in Seattle and I can't remember the second place, but
Somewhere far away.
it was definitely in America.
Seattle's a big swing if she's to come direct from there because obviously West Coast.
I think she landed Monday or Sunday night and then playing obviously Wednesday, 2 matches yesterday in the qualifying.
Yeah, that's tough. She's done well to get through.
Yeah, I think she played the two sisters, the Clark sisters.
Oh yeah, yeah, Polly and Grace.
Hello.
That's a good shot.
And down 2-all.
Bit of a delay in the swing, taking it in.
Yeah, she looks like she's got some ability. I mean, there we go, right on cue from Taylor. Wasn't
Very
given
tasty.
hardly any opportunities in the first game, Waters, but the second game, Taylor looks like she's getting her teeth into it a little bit.
Yeah, she's already won a PSA title as well. She picked up a 5k title in Norway in 2019. So it's just starting to make her way on the PSA tour. This will be a huge learning curve for her.
Just the wrong shot. The ball came almost right on her shoelaces there, and you can't attack from that kind of position when you're under pressure. You've got to lift that one.
Yeah, you just got to try and hit through it. haven't you?
Yeah, or just move your feet faster, one or the other.
Yeah, that's good stuff from Lily. Working the ball into the back, forcing the loose ball from Alison and then taking full advantage. Seems to have settled in the second game. A lot more competitive.
Oh, what a finish. She watched that ball so closely coming off the back wall, and concentration was spot on from Waters.
It's a great boast.
And out, high ball.
It's been as high as 3 in the world, Alison Waters, and has had wins against legends of the game. Particularly,
Now 6-5.
yeah, she definitely beat me now, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Beaten Nicole David a couple of times. It's not often that you get any wins against Nicole David, but back in the day there were a couple along the way.
And now 7-6.
Needs to stay within touching distance here, Lily. She's done well to get. She was 6-all a minute ago. Now just gone one behind.
And now
That'll help her cause.
7-all.
Needs to just try and take advantage of this position. Not sure what Alison's done there. Seems a bit innocuous. Roll of the ankle or something.
Yeah, just slightly. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. She looks okay.
Oh, that's in the tin.
Yeah, just snatching at that a little bit. It was the equivalent of an open goal, really.
8-7.
Chance for Lily.
Yeah, it was just to pull ahead a little bit, but suddenly stemmed from Waters. Poor serve, really.
That's better. Just using that height.
Oh, clever shot.
And now 9.
Bit of improvisation there from the young English lady. It's a good serve. It's better from right to left.
See, that's a lot better as well. It's just lifting the ball. She's getting chances, getting some loose balls when she gets Alison behind her. That's nice as well.
And now 10-8. Game ball.
And contrary to the first
two game
game,
balls. What a flick that was. I mean, she was, yeah, there was
10 love up in the
we were
first.
talking about a bagel, weren't we? Potential, and actually Alison Waters half giving her the point.
Difficult, isn't it, when you've like been so dominant in the first against someone.
Now 9-10.
You know,
Game ball.
it's hard to keep that energy up in the second.
I think if it's the case, which it clearly is, that that it was just a poor game for Lily Taylor. It wasn't that she's that much worse. Just was a poor game and a very good game actually for
She's got it.
Alison Waters. But that was, she's taken a look there. I mean, it was right that she followed it. She was playing it in the right area generally. Just got helped a little bit by the side wall, but she'll take that as she follows her father into the corner. and takes the second game 11-9 in 8 minutes. It's 1 game apiece.
Yeah, complete opposite to the first game where Alison was completely dominant. Lily seemed to have settled herself in the early stages, keeping level all the way through. Just managing to get the ball behind Alison, not giving her so much time on the tee, and being able to find a few winners of her own. And leveling up this match at 1-1.
That's one of the scorecards, the first scorecards we've seen tonight, where it's very level in the second game. Nobody getting a run of more than 2 points, which is good to see. It's pretty much what you call level pegging, really, that second game. Whereas in previous matches we've seen runs of 3, 4, 5 points, and one player struggling, no 2 players playing well at the same time.
15 seconds. One game more. Taylor to serve. Love all.
I needed to defend that one perhaps a little bit. It was deep in the corner. First blood to Waters, and then a very, very lucky shot off the wall from Taylor.
One of yours, that pocket. Oh, it's a gift.
And down 2-1.
Imagine if you could hit and miss it just on demand, just like it's a complete fluke every time.
You almost wanting someone to hit like a good shot against you, so then you can just fluke it off. That's what
Get you all the way to the top.
That's what won you your national title, wasn't it?
Yeah, five matches in a row against world-class players. Just fluke.
Just almost framed.
Oh, that's wonderful.
3-2.
Just
she's struggling, isn't she?
yeah, it's as you said, we just had a little chat off mic. It's gets in your head, doesn't it? Even if it's only a slight niggle.
You're just thinking about it when you should obviously be thinking about what you're doing on the court. That's a good shot.
And down 3-1.
It's hard also for the other person, like if you're playing someone that seems to be just checking the body a little bit, you obviously see that, and then it's how do you change your game, do you carry on what you're doing? It's difficult.
4-3.
Because obviously you can see somebody having a bit of trouble with the body. The obvious thing is to try and make them move as much as possible, but you still got to go about it in the right way.
Strong to Waters. 6-3.
I think the difference is with this situation is you're playing against somebody who is towards the end of their career, has achieved so much, and as I say, has been 3 in the world, won this event several times. So if they're struggling slightly with an injury, I don't think Lily Taylor should feel the pressure. It should spur her on. I think if you're quite close in level, or there's any pressure on you to win, then it's a bit confusing.
Yeah.
4-7.
and then you get reverse pressure then, thinking, oh well, I should win now because my opponent's injured. But I think in this case, Lily Taylor's just trying to do the best that she possibly can against a bit of a legend.
Yeah, I think that would have been her thoughts going into it initially as well, and then obviously getting it. I think if you offered a 3-1 at the start of the match, she might have took it.
A bit your hand off, I would say.
9-4.
I think in this game she needed to extend the rallies. You can see that Alison's got a little bit of discomfort. Just throw a few long rallies in and see what happens. But on the flip side, Alison would have wanted to try and make it short and cut things off. Oh.
11-4.
Yeah, it was a bit scrappy, that shot, but she totally intended to straighten it. And it's Alison Waters that not hobbles off, but comes off slightly gingerly, but takes the third 11-4 in 5 minutes. She leads by 2-1.
Yeah, Alison just seemingly carrying a little bit of a knock in that third game, but credit to her, she's managed to keep Lily behind her and pick off some nice winners. Doesn't seem to be troubling her too much. Few unforced errors coming from Taylor as she tries to work Alison around the court, but still some quality stuff on show from the higher seeded player.
Waters leads 2-1. Waters to serve. Love all.
Some quality tunes there in the break.
So I was just woken up. That's really soporific, that tune. I went to a different place.
Really upbeat stuff. This sports event. This high-paced game. Shout out to the DJ. I think it's Josh Taylor, the DJ.
Josh, it's a combination of Josh Taylor and Paul Walters. They haven't had any other gigs this year, but I'm sure they'll get some.
They had a good funeral that they did.
And out, 1-all.
I think Lily just needs to get back to using the height on the front wall, trying to get herself in front of Alison as much as she can. Easier said than done, obviously.
No lad.
Yeah, she's not going to get that.
Yeah, she was just a bit unsure there, wasn't she? She thought she'd stop and then go, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, Lily's been up a couple of times to Manchester, to a little training group that we've got there. Myself, Patrick Rooney, and Emir Evans, run by Josh Taylor. So she's just trying to, I think she's trying to find like a training base. There's a couple in the UK now that are popping up.
Down. And out, 3-2.
Yeah, I think most players in general like to be amongst other players, get some sort of variation in the training partners.
Yeah.
There's only so much solo practice you can do. That's a nice shot.
No let.
Speculative there from Waters.
Hand out.
It's
3 all.
good movement and then touch at the end of the lunge.
Very tad.
Out. And down. 4-3.
It's better stuff from Lily. Constructing rallies a little bit more attritionally than she was in the last game.
Out.
Yeah, it's overcooked
It's
it.
unlucky.
It's the right shot, but you could see it was just, I mean, a lot of players do this. Then when they go for the lob, it's just a little bit too fast with the arm. It's the right shot to try though.
Out. 6-3.
I think that's the difference though, isn't it? Just that, just a few unforced errors here and there. Just when she was building, it's much more unlikely to happen with Waters, and that's where she can improve. I think she's shown a lot of good signs here, Taylor. She's a good athlete. She hits the ball well.
Yeah, it's fine margins, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a good lob.
It's like that wrong shot there. The
7.
trickle ball's not really working out. I'm doing better just running that ball tight.
Yeah,
Side
just,
ball.
that loss to the rally. It's just that awareness, isn't it? But you can see how she's got her first PSA title under the belt. She's got some good stuff to work with here.
Down.
What a flick that was.
8-3.
Just delaying it so long off the back wall here. Cheeky.
Down. 9-3.
I think it was up, but it was playing with fire a little bit there. The serve from Waters.
That's nice.
10-3. Match ball.
And all of a
She does
sudden-
like that straight kill, Alison Waters, but I think it's about the first one she's done in this match on the back end. So 7 match balls to Waters, 1 saved.
And out. 4-10. Match ball.
Played that skid post a few times. It's actually
Yeah.
a decent shot to get yourself out of trouble if you really need it.
It is, and it's traditionally quite difficult to do on the glass courts.
11-4. Match to
Well
1.
tidied up though from Alison
3 games
Waters.
to 1.
Good,
11-1.
nice little
9-11,
chat there at the end.
11-4, 11-4.
Respect between the two. Very polite as well between these two English ladies. As Alison Waters moves through to the next round. 11-1, 9-11, 11-4, 11-4, 3-1 in 28 minutes. Alison Waters through to round 2.
Yeah, it turned out to be a lot more competitive than the first game appeared to be. Lily getting herself stuck in, especially in the second game, level all the way and then taking it at the end. But it was Alison who just showed her class, made Lily pay for a few loose balls that she was putting in the middle and working rallies as she's done her whole career, and it's the highest seeded player, Alison Waters, who moves on to the quarterfinals in this year's British Nationals.
So there we have the women's programme on the glass court today. All done and dusted. Julianne Cortese through in 4, Sarah Jane Perry in 3, Jasmine Hutton in 4 against Alice Green, and then finally Alison Waters coming through in 4 against Lily Taylor. So there you see the final match of the day. The number 1 seed, Joel Makin of Wales, up against the young pretender from Pontefract, Sam Todd. That will be coming up in around 25 minutes. Join us then.
Half time.
Welcome back to the British National Squash Championships 2020, sponsored by AJ Bell here at the Nottingham University. We have the #1 seed from Wales. There hasn't been many non-English players, but the #1 seed in the men's event is actually Welsh, Joel Makin, and he's up against the young pretender Sam Todd of Ponty. Well, I'm Simon Park, and joining me for the final match of the day, and his first time today actually, is Josh Taylor, England squash coach. Good evening, Josh.
Evening, Parky. Pleasure to join you here. Been looking forward to this all day.
What you been doing all day? Where you been?
So we've had our national coaching summit today. So we've had a chunk of coaches in from around the country. So yeah, it's been good attendance, some good talks. So yeah, that's been my pleasure today.
Working with David Campion, I believe. On the front row there with Lee Drew.
Yeah, we had a variety of different talks today. We had someone from the Army in talking about different core values that the Army have, and yeah, as you said, David Camps, he did a session on sort of dealing with numbers and creating a nice environment, and trying to impart in technical change with sort of group sessions. Danny Mazzaro came in to do some stuff on parenting, and then yeah, finished off doing updating our safeguarding course. So that was a good finish to the day.
What a day! Wow, glad I was in here. You see Malcolm Walstrop going into the corner of Sam Todd, whilst leaving his father, Mick Todd, in the corner. It's probably best.
Must say I've been looking forward to watching this match. It wasn't necessarily joining you, Parky. It was watching this match that I've been really looking forward to. Right. And I think Sam's progression over the last few months has really kicked on, I think, and I think people are starting to notice some PSA results, and it's really positive signs. But it's going to be a nice test. Obviously, Joel up to 11 in the world, and it'd be nice to see where he is in terms of these top boys. I don't think he's 100% there yet. You know, long way to go, and he's still only 16. But it'll certainly be a nice test of hopefully things to come in the future.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match. Obviously saw quite a bit of Sam at the British Junior Open recently, where he took the under-17 title. And as most people agree, he's an exceptional player, one of our exceptional juniors.
2020, men's round 1 match. Joel Makin of Wales to serve, Sam Todd of England to receive. Best of 5 games. Love all.
Well, he's gone in for the attack immediately, Sam Todd. One interesting thing is he's got a bit of sleep last night because he hasn't had to share with his father, who incessantly snores apparently. You can imagine Mick Todd's volume of snoring. Quite off-putting.
If anything, the shouts of Sambo are anything to go off. It certainly would be loud.
Probably does it in his sleep.
No, we were saying off air. I think Sam's got the ability to hit quite a lot of winners amongst a lot of other aspects within his skill set, and I think it's something that's quite exciting to watch. That's why people love watching him. And while I think he's starting to get a lot of interest, and I think modern game's gone that way. He's a very very modern player and set up in the right way for the modern game. So.
yeah, it's good to see him on court with the likes of Joel Makin. He did play in the Canary Wharf event last year, got the wild card, didn't he? But I think perhaps that was a little bit too early. Played Mathieu Castanet, who was just too strong, really. But and you know, he really did look like a junior, Sam Todd. But he's now, as we said, competing with very solid players who are in the top 100 in the world, and beating some of them now, or getting very, very close. So he's, as you say, he's come on a lot in recent months.
I think you can see it.
He's got it. It just shows how difficult it is to hit winners against the likes of Joel Makin. Got the first one, but calmly put away with the second opportunity from Todd. That follow through.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's visible to see, isn't it, that the physicality difference in a year of growth at this age is huge. You know, he's a tall boy, he's a big boy now, he's strong, Sam, so that's really underpinning a lot of the stuff that he's doing with the racket, I feel.
Well, he's going to fill out as well, isn't he? Hopefully not as much as his dad, but probably have a bit of a different diet. as Mick keeps telling me, he has his lifestyle to ward his son away from that. It's very selfless.
That's what parents are there for, I think. You know, Parky is.
On a serious note, we were discussing. I was discussing with Mick about eyewear, and obviously Sam is still a junior, but still a couple of years in the juniors. He's 17 next month, and the rule is that you have to wear eyewear under 19. I think Mick Todd and Ponty and Malcolm Woolstrop are of the opinion that if you're playing in senior events, you shouldn't have to wear them, because it's a disadvantage or an advantage for instance, Joel Makin, who's not wearing them. It's ironic actually, because we've had an injury today, haven't we?
Yeah.
To Daryl Selby. I mean, apparently it was a ball in the eye, was it? Not the racket.
I've heard various different rumours around the venue. Obviously, we've got split venue this first day. So, yeah, I haven't heard the exact...
Yeah, we'll have to find out more, but it's ironic, really, that it's being talked about with regards to Sam Todd, and we've had that injury. I mean, it just doesn't happen at this level, does it? Perhaps with a racket, you might get the odd graze, but not a ball in the eye.
No, very, very rare.
Well, what are your thoughts? Do you think as a junior he should continue till he's 19, even in senior events?
I mean, there's certainly the rules, aren't they? And I think it's a really tricky one. You know, with my sensible England squash head on, you know,
take that head off. Don't sit on the fence.
You've obviously got the all the insurance and all those various different aspects that come into it, which I'm sure, you know, obviously this is an England squash event, but with PSA, I'm sure that they've got the same kind of things that they've got to go through. So there's a whole welfare of the players and safeguarding them. But I think there's a valid point in the fact that if you're doing it on skill set, that you'd imagine that less would happen. But
absolutely, and you could make a rule where it is only in senior events that he would be allowed to do that, because of course if he's playing at this level, then as you say, that the skill set is so high, it just wouldn't happen that often, would it? Because he's an exceptional junior. He's how many other juniors? I mean, there's been a couple in the women's event who are 18. I'd be of the mindset to allow them to do that, not in junior events, but to allow them, if they're good enough to be in an event like this, to allow them to take them off.
Handouts, 2-6.
I would say that obviously Sam has played more competitive squash in goggles than out of goggles. So how much of a disadvantage that is in actual terms rather than psychological terms,
yeah, that's a good point.
An interesting one.
It's a good point.
I think there's the other aspect of they've got quite good the goggles nowadays. You know,
they're
not anywhere near as bad. So yeah, but I do get the argument. I think when they get to this age, it's the last thing they want to be doing.
That was ferocious kill there from Todd.
No let.
I mean, he's really having to move well here. Joel Makin, obviously he's taking a good lead, but he's having to play really well, isn't he, to retain this lead.
Joel's been a really interesting player to watch in his rise, hasn't he, Parky? I mean, he's a player that has developed and developed all the way through his PSA career. I actually was fortunate to study at university with Joel in his first year and my final year. I can tell you, he was so raw when he first came there, both technically and what he did, but you could always see in him that he had a real hunger to succeed, and also obviously the raw physicality. But he's just added such a level of skill set on top of all of that. It's been so nice to watch each layer develop and him add more and more to his game from when I first saw him play, actually. Where do you see him going over the next year? I know he's one of the ones that people keep sort of spotting as on the rise. Have you got...
I see him going up, but I think it'll still be fairly gradual. Obviously, the higher you go, the harder it is to move up each position, and it's going to be slower unless you're Rami Ashura or someone of that kind of quality. He's not that kind of player. He's somebody that works hard, really hard, and just talking earlier, he's probably the most improved kind of player who wasn't particularly that great a junior, who's now in this position where he's 11 in the world and number 1 seed in the nationals. I was talking to somebody earlier about other players like that, like Mark Challoner. Some of the older people watching might remember my generation, who was not a bad junior, but certainly not one of the best, and then got to the 5 in the world. I mean, another example is Pete Nicol as well, who wasn't a great junior, and look at what he achieved. But I think Joel Makin is right up there with those kind of guys, if not better, in terms of the amount of improvement that he's made. Yeah, he'd be pushing top 5 soon.
I wasn't sure about Mr. Makin's pickup. Can we play a let there, please? Thank you.
Meanwhile, he's got 6 game balls here against the young pretender.
And out 10-4, game ball.
I think obviously, going back to the question, Joel Makin's sights will be extremely high. He wants to get to that number 1 position. Why not? That's a poor error from Sam Todd at the end. It's an accumulation of pressure, isn't it? That's what Joel Makin does to people. As you see Malcolm Woolstrop walking on, Sam Todd and Mick Todd following closely by. 11-4 to Joel Makin. He takes the first game in 10 minutes.
So that was the first game to Joel Makin. It took Sam a little bit of time just to settle down and get used to the physicality that Joel had and the tempo and the pace of someone ranked 11 in the world. He settled into it a little bit towards the mid to second half of the game. Started to get a few of his winners, starting to create a bit more space, a few more openings to attack from. But certainly wasn't quite enough yet. It was Joel that was the stronger player and closed it out quite comfortably, 11-4 in that first game.
15 seconds. On court, please. Time.
Going back to that, I don't think I quite got to the end of my answer regarding John Makin. I think there's once he gets to say 5 or 6 in the world, those top 5 are so impressive, aren't they? Top 4 or 5. I mean, Ali Farag at his best. I don't know how you find a way through him. He wasn't at his best in New York. Shabagi was inspired as well. And he was due a win. But those kind of guys, Tariq Momin, Gawad, I mean, he has had the odd win, hasn't he? I think it's against 1 or 2 of those guys, but not 2 or 3 in a row, which is what you need to win a major event. But he's getting there.
My other question for you, Parky, is so Toddy's probably the most exciting young player we've had in a long time, probably since your era with Marsh and yourself, and before that probably Dell. You know, in terms of
James in between.
James,
well.
sorry, yeah, of course, and that sort of golden generation as well. But in terms of the development of someone who's 16, you know, from where he is now, there's a huge amount for Sam to potentially achieve. You can see the potential, but for him to make the most of it, any lessons that you learned or you could kind of think of that stuck with you in your journey?
I think every personality is different. It depends on everyone's personality, the way they approach things. I personally, I had a lot of potential, and I got a lot of good wins early on, 17, 18, and then didn't had periods where I didn't capitalise on it, and perhaps didn't train as hard as I could. I didn't really get really mature and consistent until I was that. 23, I reckon, even though I had some really good wins before that. So I was in the top 20 in the world, but I wasn't pushing top 5 perhaps as early as people thought I would. And so in answer to that, in my case, I think I needed a bit more regular help and monitoring in terms of consistent training and lifestyle and all the rest of it. But actually, I think Sam's got a little bit more support. I had my dad, which is great support, but he's got more than his dad. He's got Malcolm. He's got lots of people at Pontefract. I'm not sure if that's always a good thing. Great people, but you know what I mean about Ponty. It's social club as well as a squash club. But I think you need that. You need the balance.
Well, I was about to say as well, I think it's very easy for us to look at the squash and forget that, you know, where people are at 16, you know, and not just talking about Sam, talking about any junior.
Yeah, he's a young lad, isn't he? He's 17 next month. He's so much to learn about life, not just squash. But I mean, he seems like he's got the right attitude on and off the court. I know him a little bit from when he was a young kid, and he's a friendly guy, and he seems to take it overly seriously. What a shot! I mean, that's what you call relaxed, isn't it? Relaxed. Lee Drew enjoyed that one. No response from Malcolm.
Mick gave it a big clap though.
Oh, he enjoyed that one. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Go on, son.
Yeah, no. Answer to your question, I think Sam shows a lot of great stuff. And I think, you know, as any 16-year-old lad is, that they mature at different rates, don't they? And there's so much in life still to come. So it's just been really nice to watch him develop in sort of the England squash stuff and continue to develop. And I think the squash is coming from it as well, you know.
I think to simplify my answer, I think the biggest thing would be to not rest on your laurels. Like, it doesn't matter if you go out there and beat Joel Makin or beat Paul Cole or even someone better than that. don't rest on your laurels. Don't get overexcited. You know, just keep plugging away, keep pushing, and just keep working day in, day out to be a better player. And that's what I did sometimes, but I think I was guilty of resting on my laurels occasionally when I was younger.
Do you think you needed that though to realise that flip side? You know, you need some of the hardship to get some of the good stuff as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for me, unlike some other players, I had quite a few other interests in life. It wasn't just all squash for me.
Yeah.
And I suspect Sam is fairly similar in that respect. And as I say, it's about balance as well. Wow, some great volley in there. Great pressure from Todd. He's not being overawed here. Great balance, isn't it, around the middle and strength. Oh dear, that was close. One thing I've noticed, and you've been in closer quarters with Sam Todd in more recent times, he seems to be moving better. I think the strength aspect as he gets older.
I think it's probably been his biggest gain. I think it's what's underpinning a lot. I think the racket work has been.
It's always been there, isn't it?
And you know, it's certainly tightened up. And you know what Malcolm's philosophy is about, and what Pontefrat's about, and the emphasis placed on what they do with the racket. But yeah, I think that's certainly allowing him to unlock some of it. So obviously it's an interesting match because it's almost the reverse with Joel, and Joel's development has come from, he's had the physical capability, and it's unlocked with the racket work as he's come through.
Coming from the other way around, yeah.
But I think that shows how unique our sport is, and you can do it in so many different ways. And that's what makes it interesting, you know, watching Joel or a Paul Cole come through the route that they've come versus a Farag who's such a pure squash player.
And it's always been that way. It's always been that way. Every generation, you've had your talented players, and you've had your mixture of talented players and your attritional kind of runners and fighters, and you know. But all the top players of those generations, different styles they might have, they've had one thing in common, and that's the strength between the ears. You know, if they haven't got that, they're not going to make it to the top.
And out 8-all. Beg your pardon. Yes, do beg your pardon, players. And out 8-all. Down.
Yeah, I mean, he just has to go really fine, doesn't he? He's playing somebody who's phenomenally quick and strong.
It's where your combinations become so important. I feel you've got to get runs of pressure, and you've got to understand where you're going to potentially really try and expose someone, but also then regroup and find that space off it. It's interesting watching a bit of Nick Wall and Alan Clyne from the balcony. I just didn't quite feel Nick got enough of that against Alan, who's obviously a very attritional player. Another exciting English talent in Nick. But I don't know what you thought in the commentary box watching that one.
Yeah, just it wasn't quite sort of penetrating the corners for a start, and then capitalising if he did get those opportunities, which were few and far between, because Alan Clyne played really well, I thought, negating Nick Wall's talent, because he does have some flair, but he just wasn't allowed to use it, was he? And it was a sign of a really experienced pro from Alan Clyne. Joel Makin doing a similar sort of job here. But much better in this second game from Sam Todd. Oh, could be a stroke. I thought that popped up. So no complaint whatsoever. Of course, he wouldn't be allowed to. But
Glasses on, please. Makin leads. 2 games to love. Love all.
well, what do you think, Josh? Can Sam Todd raise his game again in this third? Oh, that's a lovely straighten.
When we sat down before, it's an interesting little way. Yeah, it's definitely a straight that. I thought Sam might have one game where he gets close. That's what I kind of said at the start, so I'll stick by that. I think the last one was the one where he got close.
He won't get any closer than that, you feel?
I don't think so. I don't think he's ready for that. I think also the savviness, professionalism of Joel will show through here in this third game. I'd imagine he'll close this out, but I'd love to see this match come alive a little bit more.
You'd love to be wrong.
I'd love to be wrong, of course. Proud Englishman in me.
That's clever. Clever play from Makin. I'll tell you who was exceptional at that was Jan Shakan. He used to look at you sometimes, look at the referee, and then look at you again, and then play a boast. While she's be looking at the referee, ready to appeal. The point was over. That's beautiful. Strings were singing there, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen you play that shot a couple of times. Might have been a miss hit though.
Yeah, it's probably a frame. Most expensive bit, isn't it, Parker? You've got to get that frame working.
Pay for the whole racket. Oh, that's tired. 3-1. Well.
Maybe I was, who knows?
Premature.
Yeah. Just make sure the glasses are right there, Parker.
No, that was, it was a definite subject that brought up by Mick Todd. It's tight work as well. Joel Makin, it's the first time he's been seeded 1 in this event. He's never won the event before.
He was obviously injured last year, wasn't he, Parky?
Yeah.
So he was coming in probably as a favourite when the draw was released, and then had to pull out last year. So first time we've really seen Joel at the level that we now know Joel at this event.
Well, they had like a bit of a practice run of the potential final, didn't they, in New York? Him and James Wilstrop, with Joel coming through, I should say, in 4, a very tough 4 games it was as well.
5-2.
Great response this from Todd. Oh, wow. Do drop in. Yeah, can't leave it there. It's just going to be cleaned up, tidied up by Makin. Pretty solid volleyer, the Welshman.
It's going to be steady here. He's just given a couple of bits, and he let Joel in. This would be where Joel will be looking to come right through, I think.
I think you're right, but I suppose, I mean, I was completely different kind of player to Sam Todd, but I suppose he's feeling this is how I got here. You know, let's continue with the attacking mindset. But it's a little thing called consolidation, consolidating the lead. As you pointed out, he is a very modern player, Sam Todd, and he does like to attack and keep attacking.
It's hugely important. I mean, the stats show it. I think you know, in the PSA World Tour, the top events now, you're looking like you have to hit about 6 winners a game to get on top. Number of errors is very, very low from everyone. So having the skill set to attack, obviously with the lower tin, you know, everyone's well accustomed to that. Glass courts, light rackets, you know, that's where the game's gone. So Egyptian players, the sort of, you know, the culture of the sport. I think that's where English squash has shifted. You know, we've got a really good bunch of young players coming through, and obviously this is a good example of it. But they're all a lot more attacking. I think the British Open showed that. You know, from a younger age, the style of squash has really progressed, I think, over the last 5 years in particular.
Quite a few of the girls as well.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Sam Todd is really exceptional, but there's a good number of girls that have a chance of coming through, and they're all quite attacking as well, which is good to see. Talking of attacking, that was aggressive from high up. Joel Makin really coming down on this. We just saw the aftermath there.
Yeah, you're right on the girls front, Parky, 100%. There's a real good depth of talent both sides, both men's and women's, girls and boys game. You know, it's just going to take a little bit of time. As we were saying, that they're young, so it's going to take a lot of time to develop. But
signs are good.
It's good there. Yeah.
He's not giving it. I can't really hear the referee too well. I don't know about you. I don't know if it's my hearing going after the 8th match of the day or the referee's mumbling.
I think he started mumbling in the last game a little bit. But I'm not sure about your hearing either, Parky. So, so back to 7-all here. It's gone tight.
Again, I think particularly on that backhand side, Joel Makin is very good on the volley. And he tied us up, doesn't he? Look how balanced he is. There's no way through there either.
That's where he's really developed. I think he's become a lot more clinical in stuff like that. When he's got an opportunity, he's making the most of it. That's probably been Joel's biggest gain over a period of time, last sort of 6-12 months.
Oh wow! I mean, it has to be that good, doesn't it? Is that Mick?
I haven't heard too many Sambos yet, but
it's because he hasn't got his Ponty crew. It's just Malk. And there's no bar. Hence the volume decrease. Imagine this being played on court 3 at Ponty. For those that haven't been to Ponty, the bar is overlooking court 3. It's just like a few metres away.
Always good atmosphere there on a Yorkshire League night, isn't it?
It is, but you'll have had the feeling of being the opposition.
Yeah, never the home team there.
Oh. Wow. Again, that's really severe from Todd. He's so cool and calm the way he puts it in for someone of such tender years. These PSA and BSPA events that he's played at senior level in the last few months have really helped him, I feel. Just used to this men's squash now.
No legs. No legs.
Yeah, I do think that's where he's matured his game. It's become a
more of a man's game.
Yeah.
More strength, and he's got 2 game balls now. He's already surpassed the 8 points of the last game. Real chance now to take the 3rd.
Thanks for proving that I got that wrong there, Parky. Yeah. Just pointing that out a bit more.
That's what I'm here for.
Oh,
what a finish that was. Wow, there's some skill there as well as power.
Came right around the side of that. It's lovely.
1 game ball saved. Yeah, that's the right decision. I don't think there was any effort there. There was contact, but he could have just gone and played it.
I think the line was
step to the side.
A different line there, definitely.
Yeah, he's upset with that Joel Makin, but definitely the right decision. So Sam Todd taking the 3rd game, 11-9. Joel Makin leads by 2 games to 1.
So the young Sam Todd from Pontefract really made the this game come alive here. Started off, got himself a little bit of a lead, and I think that gave him a bit of the confidence to run through to the back end of the game. Some fantastic shot work going in short, really putting the world number 11 Joel Makin under intense pressure to the front. Joel didn't roll over there. He pushed right towards the end, closed down the gap, and made it tough for Sam. You'd expect to see him come out fighting strong in this 4th game.
Fifteen seconds. Makin leads 2-1. Todd to serve, love all. Hand out, one love. Down, two love.
Parky, I reckoned that Joel would close it out in the third game. He clearly didn't, and this game has come alive at 2-1. But do you think this will be another one from Sam, or is this going to now roll through for Joel?
My heart wants to say yes, he can do it, but
Down, hand out, 1,
my
2.
head says that the professionalism in Joel Makin is going to come through in this fourth. But as you alluded to earlier, like Sam Todd can reel off 3 or 4 winners, even and he's proved it against somebody of the quality of Joel Makin. That is not quality from Sam Todd.
Hand out, 3-1.
So it's still all out there, isn't it? We know a lot about Sam Todd in terms of his junior career, but it's all out there in front of him to prove against these top players.
Hand out, 2, 3.
I think these are two of the most exciting players in the sport at the moment, to be honest. You know, I really enjoyed watching Joel's rise, and I think there's a lot more to come. I know we've said it already, but as you say, like so much in front of both of them. You know, just one's further on in their journey. But it's an interesting match. I'm sure we're going to see more of these matches up time to come.
That's a good point, actually. I think it could even be a final with this event, another event in years to come. Once Todd gets a little stronger and a little older, obviously, more experienced. Joel Makin's not exactly old, is he?
5-2.
What is he, 25?
Good question. I've got a feeling 24. But it's around that bracket. But if you look at his development against Paul Cole and compare age, he's got there a lot younger than Paul Cole. And if you take the fact that they're similar styles of players, personally, I think that's the bit that's really excited me about Joel. He's got there earlier than Paul. So it'd be interesting to see what happens from here on in terms of his development. So we've seen what Paul's done in the last year. A little bit longer than that, but you know.
And I think you're right. And I think the other thing that's a happy coincidence is that the different styles, really, contrasting styles. They're not just both very attritional. You've got the flair play of Sam Todd and the aggressive strength of Joel Makin. Obviously improving his short game, and Sam Todd improving his attritional and defensive play and strength.
Down, 8-2.
This is probably what we expected a little bit more here, with Joel running away a little bit from this game. 6-point lead.
Out. 9-2.
He's been very clinical. Sam making a few more errors. Just run away quite quickly this fourth.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for Todd, that's where you just he'll see first-hand Harden Pro on the court there. What Harden Pro does in these kind of situations.
Positive, I think, is that the response in the third, massive positive there.
Yeah.
I think the other thing
Absolutely.
that's positive is the intensity that Joel's got.
11-2.
There we go, but
Match to make.
now he's not got
3
leggy.
games to 1.
That was impressive from both players. Sam Todd
11-4.
gently punches the back wall. Slightly disappointed with himself, but he's done himself proud. He's had some good wins here coming through to this stage. And he's taken a game off the number 11 in the world at 16 years of age. That is a massive achievement. So Joel Makin comes through 11-4, 11-8, 9-11, 11-2 in 42 minutes.
So Joel Makin running away with that fourth game. Very professional finish from him, mopping up a lot of the looser stuff as Sam started to get a little bit loose as that went on. So the world number 11 progresses through to the next round.
So that wraps up the play for today. 8 matches. Julianne Cortese coming through in 4 against Rachel Chadwick. Declan James and Sarah Jane Perry both comfortably through in 3, as was James Wilstrop, bit of a masterclass against Charlie Lee. Jazz Hutton coming through against Alice Green in 4. Good game that. Alan Clyne showing his experience against Nick Wall. Alison Waters, multiple winner here, coming through in 4 against the youngster Lily Taylor. And then finally Joel Makin coming through in 4 against young up-and-comer Sam Todd. So that wraps up the end of the day today, and play begins tomorrow at 12 o'clock local time. Please join us then.